Hello, welcome everyone. I don't know what just happened, but Audra has quite the face on. Although you are like golden brown tonight in the best way, like the color match. I'm like,
it like totally matches my shoulders and everything. It's intense. I didn't realize I made my drink so strong. That's
on that note, yes, it's another we're not booze is it's a no judgment zone, but I'm just saying it's another boozy night around here.
Isn't every night boozy night now? It's like all the nights.
Depending. I wanted to first off say, before we welcome all the people that are here right now, first of all, my name is EmilyHanhan. This is Audra at home. All of our information is linked in the description box, including one of the people we might be talking about tonight. Also, I wanted to say, if you are interested in our Patreon, our PayPal, Venmo, merch, anything like that, it's down there. We are not talking politics tonight. So our mods know that. So if you do get asked to not talk about it in the chat, that's why. You know, we're all unfortunately up to date as to what's going on in the world. At least Audra and I, as much as we can be. And this is not the space for it. But we love you. We want to be a space where we can just talk. And our thought process was like, let's talk about something juicy, something interesting, but not that. So that is first up. Thank you all for like always being amazing people. All the people here live. If you're watching on the replay, we do highlight comments on the screen, but there's also a live chat where there's always lots of conversation happening. And I want to just welcome people. I see Cecily, I see Jeffrey Henry, I see Feffy and Lisa Marie, Sybil and Gabby, Meg and Ruthie and Flora Lisa, Popskin and Rachel Joy and Tia. I love this. I can't stop hearing allegedly Audra in the stylings of Suddenly Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors. And
allegedly Audra,
I love it.
Beside you.
Oh my goodness, this is the best thing already. And Faye and Trin. And thank you, Lisa Marie. This is Propa Beauty Empower. If anybody wants to know. What do you have? Is that what I think it is, or is it something different on your lips?
Oh no, it's Wicked.
Okay, yes.
House of Booty. And I actually put in a little tiny bit of, I believe, Fuji, just to give it like a Fiji. Sorry, Fiji. Okay, it's a little bit of.
It almost looks dark green at certain angles.
Yes, that's right.
And Bethany and Deja and Averia and Telzy and all of everyone that's here right now. Panda. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again this Thursday night. I hope you're all taking care of yourself and, you know, doing all the things you need to do for yourself. And yeah, yes, it's just one of those nights. It's just one of those nights. And allegedly Audra is the perfect place to start because that is where this all began. So if you weren't here last Thursday, I had slept the day away, literally, and probably was up all night the night before because that's my sleep pattern these days. And Audra was like, "You haven't heard?" And it turned into so allegedly, so I heard that we're talking Tati Westbrook, we're talking Emily D. Baker, we're talking about the concept of a lawyer being currently my favorite drama tea commentary channel.
Bam.
If you don't know, I have Emily D. Baker's channel linked in the description box. And basically, she was a former DA, and Yolanda, huge shout out to Yolanda for hello walking into the room. Yolanda.
Allegedly.
So we talked about it on Thursday a little bit when we were just like ventured out into this world. And then I don't remember when it was, but Yolanda was like, y'all need to check out Emily D. Baker. She's like breaking down all of the legal documents. So basically there are multiple lawsuits happening with Taaaaaati, and she's been breaking it down. And the mind-blowing part of it is her channel went from under 5K followers on like Thursday, Friday to 22,000 followers currently or more.
Yeah, because I feel like Yolanda told us like maybe Monday. I feel like it might be like Monday.
It was like Sunday or Monday. I feel like it was Sunday.
And then like overnight. See, y'all, Yolanda knows who's gonna make it. Okay, Yolanda knows who's gonna be big because Yolanda told us, and then literally 2 days later, she has 20,000. She was, and at that point, she was trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, and in literally 2 days, she's at 20,000 subscribers.
Yes, I love that Averia said, I'm an accountant, so all this partnership accounting fraud is actually stuff on my CPA exam study list. Okay. I love this. Emily D. Baker is now the fastest rising star over 21 on YouTube.
Yes, and that's another thing I live for. She's also 40.
Yes.
I'm 40. 40-year-old ladies unite.
There are multiple videos. That's
many.
It can be a little bit overwhelming. I mean, I think good on her. She's doing live streams like on the regular, like multiple times a day, depending on the topic. Might as well make the money while you can. You know, I don't
money.
Also, I love Sharon says, I wish I could say I'm related to Emily D. Baker. Sharon Baker in the house. But yeah, so I guess, I don't know, do we want to start with like what's going on? Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with what we know as the beginning?
Allegedly. Now we know what happened with Taaaaaati and her business partner. We've heard about that. For those of you who don't know, quick story. Allegedly, Taaaaaati has defrauded their business partner and he is suing them. In the light of this lawsuit, just as we were all like, you know, pulling our hair back and putting our wigs back on from that original, like, guess what? This isn't alleged. This is fact. There is a suit that Taaaaaati has put out against who? Without a crystal ball. Do I watch her channel? No. Do I know what she talks about? Absolutely not. Do I have I discovered that allegedly, potentially, she has a strong, deep, dark hellfire of dislike for Taaaaaati?
Yes. Allegedly, yes. Also, actually, I'm going to say this from the beginning. All of this is alleged. We don't know shit. I only know what I know because I watch Emily D. Baker recap and deconstruct legal documents. This is all alleged.
Yes, it is all alleged. From allegedly, the streets are telling us.
Yes.
That Without a Crystal Ball has been making some mess. Like watching Emily D. Baker do like law tea is the business because apparently and allegedly, I am not sure, I am not positive. Let's look over our shoulders, make sure no one's looking. Okay. Without a Crystal Ball allegedly has been deleting things.
Oh,
and videos.
Not even alleged. So alleged, like not even alleged, but she left Twitter or privated her Twitter and came back with like 37 fewer tweets. I love this. So Lisa says, so I kept saying Taaaaaati sues Without a Crystal Ball. And I was like, why would we need a crystal ball to sue?
This is, you know what, Lisa, you are not alone.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. For those of you asking with what's on my eyes, right quick, I'm so sorry. I am wearing the Kaleidos Astro Pink, their Futurism
One
Green.
of the most gorgeous 6-fan palettes ever in existence.
The reason the blue looks the way that it does is because I put the black on first and then I used some glitter glue and slapped the blue on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's okay. So sorry.
So it's really yeah, exactly. Because the first suit we discovered was the one with the business partner. And basically, if you don't know, originally when they started, it was like the business partner who's supposedly, allegedly best friends or was with James, Taati's husband, not James Charles, but James Westbrook.
Yeah.
Was best friends with James. And the best friend had 50% of the company. And then James had 25, Taaaaaati had 25 or whatever. At some point in time, and I don't know if it was even the company was started yet, but basically they came to him and was like, hey, like this doesn't look good for under my name to not have majority, blah, blah, blah. I have all these YouTube friends. I heard that Jebediah Stankfish got offered $500,000 for like a Sugar Bear hair ad. His company L'Oreal offered to buy Jebediah Steakfish for $500 million. 500 million. So she's basically saying, I have all these friends. The beauty industry is popping. There's money there to be made. All of my followers will buy whatever the fuck I want to like put my name on because they trust me. They love me. So let's split it up 30%, like in thirds. So you have the third of the company. James is the third of the company. I have the third of a company. And he agrees to do that. And then all of a sudden, she gets approached by Seed Beauty and starts doing Taaaati Beauty under Seed Beauty. And so basically, I feel like that lawsuit came from like, okay, you promised all this shit. You promised like people will endorse my product. So I think that's why the vitamins were always the thing.
The vitamins were always
Smokey
Glow has a video on that as well.
Mo was right. Yoga with Mo has talked about like for like almost a year now, like the vitamins were the thing.
Yes,
like vitamins were the thing. And so that's why she had such my alleged take on it is why she had such an emotional reaction was that she saw the value of her company disappear.
Sorry, I laugh. But it's for those of y'all listening or visually impaired, it says she wasn't Trin came in and said she wasn't wrong. I bought that stupid palette and I hate it. Most disappointing palette of 2019. You heard it here.
And so that's hilarious because I thought the concept of that palette was pretty cool, but I thought the execution was disappointing. Because I was like, those are not metallics. The metallics look like satins. The satins look like the mattes. Like, and then Sharon said, I wanted to buy
that bitch. And I didn't. I didn't buy it. Like I was so close to buying it, but something like held me back from buying it. And then finding all the people who were like, these are just pressed glitters. And I don't have a problem with pressed glitters because I have funky eyes. But my issue was that I didn't want an entire row of them.
Yeah. I also was like, it's owned by Seed Beauty, which basically means it's just ColourPop. Don't come at me with KKW or Kim or Taaaati is better quality. I don't care. I've been there. I've talked about it. I'm so no.
Well, some people didn't like it. Like even Clark didn't like it.
It was two extremes. Like I know some people hated it and then people loved it. So because I do know people that actually say they love it. I don't get it. But so yeah, so there was this whole suit, and that was kind of what we knew on Thursday when we were talking about this, that there was this suit. Okay, it was always about the vitamins. She's a liar. And the reason why he agreed is because she had all of these beauty guru friends. She had Jeffrey, she had Manny, she had James, she had everyone that's related to the Manny Jeffrey crew, like Gabby and Nikki and all of the trash.
And it was going to be the halo was going to be where everything came from. Yes. The Taaaati Beauty, skincare. It was going to be an all-encompassing company. So why have a few million when you can have a few billion? Was the thing. So he was like, okay, I will do this thing. Because you're going to have cosmetics.
It wasn't just going to be vitamins. It was going to be vitamins. It was going to be skincare. It was going to be makeup. It was going to be anything that they could turn it into. And so then all of this stuff started coming out without a crystal ball. And I had heard that channel name here and there, I think because of Hannah Smoky Glow. Maybe it was Hannah's Taaaati video that went up pretty early in this, where she was like, I don't agree with this channel and how they approach it, and then mentioned something else about it. I don't remember what. But the reason why this is so, like, besides the fact that it's just juicy because, like, I didn't trust that bitch for a long time. Sorry. And I say bitch and with love and with hate. So you can choose whatever I meant by that tone. I didn't trust Taaaati.
You saw like Kenya's video today. She was like, white women lie. Did you see that? She's like, not just to say like all white women lie. Everybody lies, but white women lie.
It's true though. It's very true. Like I was a watcher. I was a viewer of Taaaati for a couple of years. And then I think I just found Small Beauty YouTube and I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, no, there was never a connection, obviously, from how quickly as I turned off from like watching her. But yeah so then, and this exactly.
That I had, and you had as well, which is like that whole apology seemed very much to be blaming everyone but her. Like she just, it went over like a wet fart, as I like to say. That apology went over like a wet fart. The majority of people didn't like it, hence she's continuing to lose subscribers.
And I think the people that were always diehard Taaaati fans believed it because they're easily manipulated, vulnerable white women. That's my take on that.
Or allegedly. Also fans, listen.
But fans are easily vulnerable and manipulated. I'm saying those are the same things. Fans can be manipulated easier when you're a fan of somebody. When you're a fan of somebody, especially if you're like, don't have your, like the way we talk about the world, the way we talk about capitalism, the government, the country we live in, those are not the people that are easily manipulated fans. I'm just going to say that.
That's true. That's true. I just worry about it because I'm like, well, I don't want to think of people who love us.
I would say they are stans more than fans. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taaaati stans.
Oh yeah. Okay. So JS was offered $200K, not $500K, to promote Sugar Bear hair, but jockey strap. So it's really interesting though, because as especially Emily Baker started breaking down the Without a Crystal Ball suit, now there's all these little connections coming out. Like, I think her name is Katie, is the person behind the channel Without a Crystal Ball. Was she talking with James Charles's mom? Was she working with this third guy, Clark, who's suing Taaaati?
Because if y'all don't know, I fangirled a little bit because I was in one of Emily D. Baker's chats.
Yes,
and listen, she did read my comment and put it up on the screen. And my question was, do you think that this lawsuit against Without a Crystal Ball would have happened if the partner hadn't sued? Yeah. And my thoughts, my opinion, which is in no way fact, is that they would not be suing Without a Crystal Ball if the partner hadn't sued. But there are some ramifications, I feel like, of this whole thing. But continue.
Well, no, but the interesting thing is that also, like, so I listened to Emily's video and live today because, I mean, it's good background noise. She's a little dry, but not in a bad way. But, like, it's good background noise to listen to. Is that she's thinking that allegedly Halo Beauty is paying the legal fees for the suit to Without a Crystal Ball. Yes. And that makes sense because you drain out the money, whatever is left in Halo, after James Westbrook allegedly took money out of Halo Beauty without, I mean, he doesn't need permission because he's majority. If Taaaati approves, he doesn't need the approval of the other guy. So he's drained Halo of whatever money they have.
He's supposed to, though. I think
with the majority,
like, legally, though it depends on how the documents are written up. But
true.
I think, and of course, don't take my word for it. I am not a lawyer, but I think that I understood from what Emily Baker was saying was that it is illegal for you to take money out of the company even if you had the majority stake without conferring with everybody, because it essentially, if you did that in any company, right? Like if we had a company together, I took all the money and ran, I leave you with this company and not like no funds, whatsoever. And you never signed off on any of because you have to sign off on that shit. It's a company. What is that thing? Oh God, I used to say
I'm so bad with that kind of.
It's the law of. Oh man, I used to know this from the bottom, like the back of my hand.
I just didn't know relative to that if it's because they have majority. If it's like as long as majority signs off on it, you could do these things. But I don't know. I truly don't know. Oh, okay. So yeah, Audra, you're on the money. Emily Baker said you can't remove money without all the owners agreeing. So yeah, like affidavits, is that what you're thinking of?
No, that's not it. There's a very specific thing that was put into place, and it's like, why can't I remember it? Because it's like, it's one of the most important things ever to stop businesses from doing like bullshit. Like you have to be able to account for all your money.
Yeah.
God bless. Why can't I remember the word, y'all? I'm like Googling like a freak show right now, just trying to find it. The term.
And so I think it's interesting to think about Halo Beauty as the company suing without a crystal ball, because again, if they cover the legal fees, if they are searching through all of this YouTuber's YouTube content, like, and you have multiple lawyers searching at the same time, that could be like even a week's worth, if not more, of searching 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at like $300 to $500 an hour per lawyer, having 4 or 5 lawyers doing it. Like, that's a huge chunk of money on that.
Yes.
And I know that somebody else in chat mentioned they have to prove. So Taaaati has to prove damages by without a crystal ball because it affects her business. She has to sue as Halo, but that's also the really like bad thing. Basically, so force majeure or valuation.
That's not it. It's for fuck's sake. I'm going to look it up and I'll find it at some point.
I can keep talking about this. But basically, it's really interesting to think about them being like, you know what? This person over here on YouTube is talking all of this hate, and like Taaaati is Halo Beauty, so we can sue as Halo Beauty because devaluing Taati's name devalues Halo Beauty, or this is my take on it. And then they have this suit coming in from this third partner, and now there can be like, well, there's no money in it because they spent it all suing this other person, so have your Halo Beauty, we're good. Like, it just feels like all too perfectly coordinated. And then the idea that, well, okay, so part of it is that Without a Crystal Ball was the first person on YouTube, if my memory is correct, allegedly the first person that mentioned Taaaati getting a lawsuit, being sued by this other party. So how would she know that unless allegedly she was in conversation with the third partner in Halo?
Ma'am.
Also, yes, it does feel like embezzlement. I mean, in some ways.
Yes, like that, because that's the other reason she's also suing from Halo Beauty, because honestly, she doesn't even actually, I don't think, allegedly, perhaps, who knows, made this up. She doesn't own the majority share of Taaaati Beauty anyway.
Well, true, because if Seed Beauty is the owner, just knowing the kind of businesses they own, knowing the savvy that they have, there's so many reasons why I don't like ColourPop, but mostly it's the way they run, the way they have changed the makeup industry.
Sarbanes-Oxley. Sorry.
What was it? Say it again.
Sarbanes-Oxley.
Sarbanes-Oxley.
So you have to be able to account. It's SOX. You have got to be able to account for like every freaking dime in every company and every corporation, and it has to be documented and signed off on. Because otherwise, if it is not documented and signed off on, it can in fact be seen as embezzlement of some form or another, or intent to defraud the government.
I'm so glad you got that, because I was like, I saw it in your face. You're like, I know that feeling when I'm like, I know this thing. I know it. I can find it. So,
it's like the simplest thing. I'm so sorry. I like shouted like a little weirdo, but like
Sarbanes-Oxley, because I feel like I've heard that.
Yes, it was. So when bunches and bunches of companies like Enron, for instance, who were like basically
we all know Enron,
fraudulent ass shit, you have things like Sarbanes-Oxley that come into play. So it's like, you cannot take money from everywhere. Every dime, every nickel, every penny has to be accounted for and signed off on. And I know this because when I did relocation, people would have to sign off that they understood the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, that they understood that like relocation funds that they received would be like reported and reportable income, that like the sale of their house was subject to that, like all of that stuff was subject to like government audit and any of that kind of stuff. And we did have SOX audits of our business, which most people do. Most corporations do have SOX audits of their business to make sure your shit is in order. And it's not even just finances. It's like all of your documentation, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Whew.
And
So
I'm
sorry,
wondering,
everybody.
it's okay. So Lisa Marie is asking, so why is there some previous relationship without a crystal ball in the Westbrooks? I don't know, and I don't really want to give this person views, in my opinion, but I feel like she's, from what this is what I'm like gathering from the ethos, is that she's always, or for a while, had this like this thing happening with Tati. Yeah, this like dislike.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like that it just turned into something else. And there was something that Emily D. Baker mentioned today where she was saying that there is terminology in the suit between Tati and James and his business partner, Clark, that sounds awfully like wording from things that Without a Crystal Ball wrote or posted on Pathos, which I think is a blog hosting site. I just tried to Google it to see if I could find, but I don't know anything about this. I think it's Patheos. So Emily D. Baker was saying that like the wording was very similar. And so she's like making these connections, like where when you see certain things and you're like, this is like, I'm team, like if it feels like a coincidence, it's probably more than that. And that's something that Emily has said in like videos and streams. So that's where I'm like,
because like what's very interesting about this, and for those of you who haven't watched Emily D. Baker, I'll tell you why it's very interesting. It is very interesting to get like YouTube tea in a non-gossipy way. It's like it's quite literally the actual legality of what you can and cannot do and things like that. So it's like it's very, very interesting because when you look at that, it's different than people saying like, oh, so-and-so suing so-and-so for damages and like da-da-da-da-da. And the thing about it is she has like the legal background to actually explain what is going on and what it means. To answer somebody's question about SOX, it's the Act of 2002. I'm going to read the definition. Cool. And it's a U.S. law meant to protect investors from fraudulent accounting activities by corporations. It also covers issues such as auditor independence, corporate governance, internal control assessment, and enhanced financial disclosure. So this is why, as it is, when he took, if allegedly he took that money without asking, it is problematic because there's no documentation or paper trail for that money going anywhere other than him taking it. Yeah. So like this is like very few companies would engage in this behavior because you have to be able to back like when your outside auditors come, which most intelligent companies have an outside auditor come because you have your internal audits, but you also have outside auditors come to make sure that you're keeping up with everything. Because if the government should decide to target your company for an audit, everything's on the up and up, right? And so him taking that money the way he did without everybody signing off saying like it's okay for him to take it allegedly, if he took it allegedly, please, Tati, don't come in here with your helicopters and your Nerf guns. So
I love drama, but just gonna say,
yeah, so if he took that and there's no paper trail for that, it can be seen, like that's why it fucks it up, is it can be seen as embezzlement against the company.
And this would make sense that how easy it could be to find, especially if you're a fan and then you found Crystal Ball's channel, how easily you could say, I won't buy Halo because of this person. Also, welcome, Holly. Holly had a huge margarita. It's my Friday. Nice.
Every day
I did a whiskey cider combo, and it's hitting me already quite hard. So, welcome.
Listen, I think I poured there's a potential that there's 4 shots in this drink, ma'am. So in approximately 30 minutes, shit might get out of hand. I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Kathleen, yes, I used to work for a company where an auditor came in and wanted to count our socks. Sorry, that's what took me out. Count our socks. At least that's what I thought was my first job. First job fears too. First job anxieties are real. And I didn't see this, but Angelica Oles talked about an experience without a crystal ball giving her a copyright strike on her channel. I could see that. Like I could see, like, as a creator, especially if you are that intensely, supposedly, allegedly, it like into this other creator, kind of keeping an eye on what people are saying about you. But I think it's and thank you, Lisa Marie, mod of queen mods, mod queens.
Yes,
oh God, the goddesses and goddesses. I don't know, just saying things now.
Okay, sorry.
Love this, Maria. When this video posts after the stream, you should flash the word allegedly above the screen the whole time. I should have gotten some like light up things.
This is why it's interesting, because Emily D. Baker's chats, her live chats, are what, Emily?
What do you mean? I'm
They're alight with drama channels in there.
Oh, that! Oh my God! Okay. So they are. So from the very first live stream I ever watched, which she might have actually been live, I might have been watching a replay. That stream, I saw the viewer's voice in there. Another stream, I saw Dustin Daly. Somebody else, I think in our LGG Discord, mentioned seeing Rich Lux in one of them. So all of the drama channels who are scraping for info, they are scraping for juicy tea. They are desperate for something to happen. So the Taaaati drama is like, it's an oasis in a desert.
Yes, because they're over there squeezing the
Baker is like the spring. Like she is the spring, and they are lapping it up. Like,
they're like,
they're sending her money. And it's just, the first time I saw it, I was like, again, when you're, I'm going to say this, when you're over 30 and you've worked in this world, get your money however the fuck you need to get it. I don't even care what your age is, but like, there's something about like, you've been a part of this world, you've done your thing, and somebody's in this situation where she is tapped into something. They are thirsty. They are suckling on Mama's titty, and Mama's titty is Emily Baker.
Thank you. Because she got the tea and she got the information on how to decode. Because she's like a decoder ring. Do you know what I mean?
And also, the other part of it that I haven't mentioned is she also has access, because of her career, she has access to documents or ways to get access to those documents that regular people don't have. But it's so fascinating to see these people in the chat, like, y'all are desperate, baby with a bottle, like sucking hard.
Trin, I love you so much.
I didn't see that.
You are fabulous. But please do not mention that unfuckable troll out loud. You
should give him another nickname, like his ass star or something. I don't know.
Unfuckable troll. UFT.
Saka and Emily is the cactus juice. I love our chat so much. And I love everyone that has dropped in other bits of information about Emily D. Baker, what she said. Like, y'all are all amazing and making our lives a little easier. Sucking the TT. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how quickly these channels found her.
Well, because here's the thing. Because there's far-reaching ramifications.
Also, welcome, Satines. Welcome. It's Keemstar. We're talking about Keemstar. If you don't know who he is, don't Google it. Just live your life happily.
I just kept hearing the name, and I'd never really seen him. And when I saw him, I was like,
yeah, fair reaction. Fair reaction.
I was like, ew, is he 5'6"? Okay, moving on. So here's the thing. There are far-reaching implications if Taaaati wins this suit. This is my non-law degree.
Without a crystal ball suit.
Yes, without a crystal ball. This is me having zero legal knowledge. So that's the song. Zero legal knowledge. So no, that was good. So
you have the voice. I have the sound effects, I guess, tonight. Because of booze, I'm gonna say. Okay.
The issue is if she is successful in winning this suit, this opens up a lot of drama channels, even with the keywords, right? Even using words like allegedly and whatnot, you can possibly still run up against this. Now, allegedly, without a crystal ball, had a juicy taco for this situation. All right.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, keep going. I'm not going to say anything else. Keep going.
And got the most juices from hurting and harming Taati in any way possible by saying anything and everything without, using terms like allegedly. So I heard from an unreliable source that I cannot confirm, but I am now giving you this information. So please do not take it as the truth. Please do not sue me. Like, she didn't use any of that. And then was like daring people, allegedly, like, sue me, bro. Come at me, bro. And then they came at her. So the problem is,
it makes me want to go, nah, you fucked up. Like, I don't know.
Right? Like, it just doesn't. So, like, if Taati wins, this may change the landscape for how all drama, not just drama, but also commentary channels operate. It's going, because even commentary, like, there's a lot of commentary channels that do not use allegedly. They're just giving commentary on the situation. And the problem with that is that somebody could see it as bullying. Like, someone, like, if the Kardashians were angry enough, they could look over at Abby Williamson, they could look at Smokey Glow, they could look at As Told by Kenya, they could look at Amanda Beebe, and they could look at them and be like, well, you're bullying me and I don't like it and you're defaming my character. So this has a lot of implications. So there's like a part of you that doesn't want Taati to win, but then there's another part of you that does want her to win, because you don't, like, you can't just, there has to be a line in between actively attacking someone and like also giving information and talking about a situation without being a hateful ass bitch. Not saying that Without a Crystal Ball is a hateful ass bitch, but that is just my opinion without having watched.
Mo said allegedly she has no money. That's why she's not afraid to get sued. That doesn't mean you can't owe money. Not that I know much about it. Also, I just want to say,
you can get sued and they can take every last thing that you own. They can take your fucking house and your car. Like, people think because they don't have physical money, like, you have assets, and they will take them. If she's getting paid from YouTube, they will take every fucking AdSense check. Like, that's dumb.
Also, Holly Rose said, I need a drunk buying intervention. I know I'm wildly off topic. That's okay. We're always off topic here. But please tell me that I don't need a Dyson Airwrap. It will not make my hair look good, right? You don't need anything you can't actually afford. That's what I'm going to say.
That's what I'm going to say. You don't need anything you can't actually afford.
I have no hair. I've given up on my hair. It's all good. I've worked through it. So I never want an Airwrap. It's one of those things that gives you curls. But
like, this gets
yeah, okay. That's my only good thought. Yeah, I do think that there's this weird thing. Like, I don't ever actually want Taati to win anything, but that's my bigger white issue. I'm just gonna say. I'm gonna drink on that. But
we're getting so smashed at this thing. Like, you're already starting to do like lean memes, and I'm already starting to lean. We're like, okay, let's get seriously, allegedly.
I will bring the pink wig back soon, Satines. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. It's got to come out and get a brush out and all that stuff because it's been stuck away in a drawer forever. Also,
I've been waiting for November, but it's going to be 80 degrees all week in Texas. So, like,
also NYX glitter glue. That's what I use for my glitter primer for my JD Glows. That's my thing. Not everybody needs that depending on your eye shape, but that's my favorite.
Need. Listen, it's not about need. It's about impact. Because
impact. There we go.
Yeah, look at the impact from like,
I find that the NYX glitter glue makes the JD Glow, especially the flakier formulas, go from flaky to like liquid metal. Like, just like Okay.
And if you saw Glitter Fallout, she did a look tonight using the Juvia's Place Valhalla 2. Is that it?
Oh.
And she threw some glitter glue on it, and she used NYX glitter glue, and it looked wet.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's an interesting. Okay, so Meg says, I don't think Taati can simultaneously argue that she was slandered while claiming she has no money. I think Without a Crystal Ball said she has no, like the theory is that Without a Crystal Ball has no money, so she does not care who sues her.
Yes, but it's like student loans, y'all. You could like not have a job, right? And you can tell them like, I don't have a job or whatever. But as soon as the government sees you have a bank account and you're getting paid, they will take it out of your account. Period.
If there is any money, and it's not even student loans. It's like I will admit, at a younger age, I fucked up and did not report the proper end date to my unemployment. Because I was like, I took this job, but I don't really love it. I'm just gonna, I fucked it up. They took that money.
Yes.
Next tax season, they were like, oh, a yoink. Like, just all of it. Just yoink. Just like, I was like, well, I learned. I'm not going to say I agree with it, but I learned.
Yeah, everybody learns the tax lessons because they don't teach us this shit in high school, which they should have. Because I thought for some reason when I was in college that if you made like less than a certain amount of money, like I thought that if you made less than $5,000, you didn't have to do taxes. Because somebody fucking told me that. Some random person was like, "Oh, if you make less than $5,000, you don't have to." So I didn't do taxes. Do you know what happened? It compounded and compounded. And let me just tell you a super fun secret about the IRS. They're not going to come for you the year you fuck up. They're going to come for you on the last possible year that they can, which is year 7. And at this point, they will have accrued all kinds of fees. They're not going to come to you when you only owe, $372 or like $37.82. They're going to come to you when all of the fees have accrued. They wait. That's why they do the 7-year audits, so they can, really just stick it to you.
Also, just to continue on this veering off topic, glitter glue a little bit, and wait for it to not wait for it. Let it still be sticky. Yeah. Like you use a little bit. I put it on. And then I go on top. If you use too much, you'll crease or it'll be weird and gunky. Thin layer. It's less than a pea size. It's like 1/10 of a pea. Like obviously, if you can't spread that much, then add more. But yeah,
Holly, it is not dumb.
No, it's not. That's the thing is that okay, here's my thought on a Dyson product. If you buy it from a site in which you can return it if it doesn't perform the way you want, because I am team, if a corporation makes a product that's shit, we as consumers are not the responsible party. So if you can buy it from a site in which you can return it in case it does not work for you, and you have the money, and you feel like it's the right purchase at the time, make the purchase. Now, if it's from a site that's like super sale that you can't return it, I'm not about that life because I want to be able to return things that don't work for me.
Holly, if it makes you feel any better, do you know how many pairs of false nails that I have? Do you know how many more I've purchased? We're all stress buying in the apocalypse. All right. This is a full-on apocalypse. We're all buying things. We're all doing things that we shouldn't be doing. Am I making some mistakes? Yes. Do I care? No.
As Teresa is Dead said in her most recent video, you literally cannot take the money to the grave. So what else is there?
So a 93 Run says, I think when Without a Crystal Ball broke the lawsuit story, it was the straw that broke the camel's back for Taati. She has had a weird, creepy obsession with Taati, and I think Taati finally had enough.
And I bet the lawsuit is like very... It seems like there's a lot of emotions there, or I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption that the lawsuit between Taati and James versus the friend, and by emotions, I can just mean that it's showing her ass.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she's like, oh, no, I have to protect, must protect, whatever that means. And so that means this Without a Crystal Ball person, you are the target. Okay.
But herein lies the question, which is, do all of these lawsuits make Taati look better or worse?
Here's the thing, is that if Without a Crystal Ball is as obsessed, I think we use the word obsessed too easily these days, but if she is as like this interested in Taati's life and business, I actually don't disagree. Shocker, I don't disagree with Taati suing her.
Correct.
But if Without a Crystal Ball is intertwined with this third business partner, or with James Charles, or with all these other parties that have kind of been like allegedly talked about, that's where I go, okay, Without a Crystal Ball, you fucked up. And I don't want your fuck ups to represent YouTube as a whole. So tell me what you're thinking as you're dancing around.
That was my food dance. My food is arriving, so I'm like,
yeah, Alex, this might be why I'm drunk right now. If I take a shot every time I drop a channel, because allegedly.
Yeah, but that would give you alcohol poisoning for real. We do
also,
not.
This is an interesting perspective from Gabby. I feel like Here for the Tea was obsessed with Jaclyn Hill, but in the end, she was right about her.
Facts. Allegedly.
Our chat is fire. Just gonna say that. Kathleen asks, also, I wonder, opinion, if Taati didn't sue Without a Crystal Ball, could the guy suing her point to the Without a Crystal Ball videos and claim in court they were supporting evidence to his claim?
Well, that's the thing. Emily D. Baker was saying that these things commingle, and there is potential possibility, we don't know, allegedly, perhaps, the streets are telling us that he could have been getting said information about his business from her.
Yeah.
From Without a Crystal Ball.
Allegedly. I kind of allegedly think that there is a relationship between this third business partner and Without a Crystal Ball. And I think it's like a mutually beneficial relationship. Like, I kind of feel like Without a Crystal Ball is probably feeding him some information about Taati and like everything that's going on in the YouTube world. And then like he is feeding her information about the lawsuit and all of that. Allegedly, as Satines has added. Also, Yanni Rowe is saying, I don't know who these people are, but I'm entertained. The fact that y'all are entertained by drunk me, I'm not even gilding the lily. Drunk me and Audra. Thank you. Glad you're here.
Why am I getting my suit now? Because it's a little chilly in here. I had to turn the AC on because it was a little too hot. It was like 80 degrees in my apartment.
So what did Data say? I think this may be one of those where she legally may be in the right, but in the court of public opinion may not be kind because she all looks petty. If you're talking about Without a Crystal Ball or Taati, I think they're both relevant actually, because I think they both can look petty in this situation. I think that depending on, I think one depends on the other. Like, I think that if Taati is able to like win against Without a Crystal Ball, I think that will affect her other lawsuit. But if one happens before the other, I think that's going to affect. Like, I think that if it comes down that Halo Beauty did do illegal shit and did like go against contract with like all of the changes, like that's when I think if they lose that case, they lose the Without a Crystal Ball case. But I think if they win the Without a Crystal Ball case, they might win the other case as well. Or they've drained so much money that there's nothing to win.
I'm gonna go with that.
Bethany said, I think for me, it's the things Without a Crystal Ball did to get personal information she got. Calling their friends and former coworkers. I did not hear about that.
Yes, I heard she was doing some shady ass shit to get information. Like she was allegedly, hold on. Let me get my pot stickers, y'all. I need to have my pot stickers. Yes. All right. So allegedly, Without a Crystal Ball was calling the workplace and like telling people not to do business with Taati, telling them to get out of business with her, trying to say like how awful she was. So the thing of it is, if it's proven that that was actually happening, we have a lot of issues there.
Yeah.
But this is very important when it comes to drama, which is why, like, in whatever you're talking about, you have to be careful about having your own like personal, especially if you're a drama or a commentary channel. You do have to be careful about letting your own feelings take precedence to the point where you become obsessed with like the downfall of somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel like it seems like that's what happened with Without a Crystal Ball. Like, just became obsessed with like destroying Taati, and I don't know why.
And this is why I wasn't against the lawsuit against her. Like, I know that there was a lot of like, I feel like you said this and other people have said this, like, oh my God, if this goes through, what is this going to mean for all YouTubers? This is a big deal. I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but I think there is a level of like of attack on Taati from Without a Crystal Ball that's above and beyond what most YouTubers do, allegedly. Like, I think that most YouTubers that are talking about drama or talking about this or that are not focused on the complete downfall of a person. But I do agree that that Taati looks so pristine and perfect, it's disturbing. I agree with that. But that's been an issue that I've had. I've had that issue for a couple years now. And Alex, the Alchemist, said allegedly she's allegedly been shady in other drama communities too. Duggar Kids drama, Teen Moms for Without a Crystal Ball. So yeah. And also Madison makes a good point that this other third party or the third partner in the company, I think his name is Clark, according to Emily. Remember, there are multiple claims. He might win some and not others. And that's true too. They might decide that some are valid and some are not for,
Yeah.
Oh, black sliced rum?
Girl. That sounds dangerous. Hold on tight.
So, and then Yolanda says, this Without a Crystal Ball has gone after everybody. So that's why I wasn't as concerned with like this affecting YouTubers at a greater degree, because it's like she's a very specific example of what not to do, is what it seems like. And also choosing a person like Taati to be so obsessed with or going after. Yeah.
Sorry, Lynette, you are.
Yeah. I mean, but I agree with Vision of You. As a nurse, I disapproved how Taati contributed to the beauty invasion into wealth and health and wellness. They are growing more synonymous with each other as more supplements are being sold in beauty and fashion retail. Supplements as a whole are a whole range of like the beauty, health, wellness world that I just don't. I'm not a part of.
There's a reason they're asking people in beauty to like rep skinny tea,
Yes. And then I'm going to say this. The fact that the skinny tea brands, one in particular, has ventured into skincare makes me feel very continually strongly anti that brand. I'll just say that.
Doesn't make you feel dirty, Mum.
And then Deja said, yeah, I'm also not entirely against the lawsuit, only because for this specifically, it seems like Crystal or Katie has crossed a lot of lines in ways that others aren't, in which the YouTube community should be okay. I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I feel like when you cross into a personal vendetta against anyone, right? No matter what job you're in, like, I don't know why they say revenge is a dish best served cold, because honestly, I think it's a delicious, delightful dish when done right. But anyway, but when you have a personal vendetta against somebody, like, it's going to become obvious. And Without a Crystal Ball has shown, apparently, according to others who have seen this, and it's not just one person, it's several people who have said this in live streams and whatnot, where they're like, no, girlfriend has a whole like vendetta, and it's shown out. She's Duggars, and like you were saying, just going against all these people. So the question about all of this becomes, do we need more legal tea channels? Is the question.
I mean, my answer is yes, because I think that there is a perspective that lawyers and people that work in the legal like world bring to these conversations in particular. But even, you know what, even without, okay, in particular in this situation, because there are these 2 lawsuits happening and there's all this documentation because public records are a thing. But even without the lawsuits, I feel like there's a lot of like drama that happens in the beauty world, in the YouTube world, where like if a lawyer said like, okay, this shit that this person is talking about is actually like unproven, unfounded, and then it like shut the shit down, or at least it helped like break the like, oh, this is a big deal kind of veil from some people. I think that could be super, super helpful. But yeah, and I haven't looked. So Lisa Marie said, I'm curious to what other types of videos Emily D. Baker did prior to this.
We'll have to look and find out.
Because I mean, even I'm going to say this, having 5,000 subscribers is still a big deal. She is now up to almost 25,000 subscribers. She's at 24.6K. So she, goodbye, Bo. She was talking.
Sorry, I put my mouth open, y'all. I'm like bugging down.
So I feel like she's talked about like, politics. She's talked about Rachel Hollis. She's talked about, I mean, she's done like work from home tips, AirPod Pro. Like she's done like frou like things, but she's also talked about like Supreme Court, you know, and president and COPPA and lawyer explains LuLaRoe. And so I don't know, there's been a mix of different things.
I think she said in a live, like, thank y'all for helping me to form whatever this channel is, because I think she's having fun on YouTube, just talking about whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's essentially, in a lot of ways, I don't know if she would say this, but it's becoming like a legal tea channel who we're like,
yeah,
break down the tea for us. We need to know.
Oh, Alex said, y'all are awesome and keep this house sane, from Case, Alex's partner. I love it. Yeah, and she did a TED Talk 3 years ago, or TEDx Talk. But I think it's, and she also has a podcast, that's true. So, yeah, it seems like everything going on, her last, like, week of content has kind of helped her figure out what's what in terms of what she wants to talk about on YouTube. So that's pretty cool to see. I think that's been the interesting thing, too, where, like, you know, I think the first video you saw of her, she was like, okay, we're going to try to get to 5,000 subscribers. Like, we can do this. And now she's like 5 times that many subscribers. So, yeah, it's kind of fascinating to see. Yeah, no, I did not do a TED Talk. No, thanks. No. That's interesting. So Kathleen says, legal tea was what TMZ was originally. Funny how things evolve.
Yeah. Because I think it's fascinating to get the legal aspects of things, because when we hear sue, like, or even in your personal life, right? When you have creditors that are coming after you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do it like through lawyers, and you get like, they send you something and you get served. Immediately your first thought is like, oh my God, I'm like losing everything. And then you just like try to pay them.
Yeah.
Please hold, get you a lawyer. Have whatever that fee is negotiated down.
Yeah.
Like however much, like if they want $5,000 from you, and like you made this mistake when you were in college and you just could never have enough money to pay that credit card. And then it just slipped your mind because like you started doing better in your life and all this, and it just slipped your mind.
And also like you might have moved, and so your address changed, but then it didn't follow up. Like there's all these different ways in which like good people, and I don't even think good people is a good qualifier, but whatever, that people can make these mistakes and get screwed out of a lot of money.
So it's like when you see that you're getting sued, it's easy to jump into a panic mode. So I think it's really interesting and good to have somebody on YouTube in the drama.
Yeah.
That can actually kind of talk about this stuff and leave us not feeling like if you were to get sued, you know what I mean? You now have a space where you don't have to feel immediately panicked like everything's over.
Exactly. I think the fact that she was an LA based lawyer too, so she has while Taaaati might be suing from Washington or things might be from other states, I think there's something special about that with the YouTube world because so many people are based there, and she enjoys it too, as Olivia said. She's a consultant for online businesses, so they know and follow the laws regarding online businesses. And I think that's also the lawyer thing is such an interesting thing because now, okay, if the thing that happened to me years ago with my unemployment and back pay and how it just got taken out of my, now I have a community where I could go to and be like, can somebody that's more knowledgeable help me? I know I fucked up, but help please. And it's not that I'm asking for free labor from people, but there are people that will give you advice that will be like, look, this is what I can tell you without deeply investing in your situation. And this is how I can help. And if you need more help, there might be bookable hours, but I can give you this right now because people are very aware of the monetary kind of the issues with trying to find a lawyer when you don't have money, basically. So Madison said, I would love to start a channel about it, but unfortunately do not have the kind of experience Emily Baker has. I don't think I would feel comfortable. She also has a variety of experience. I also think, I don't know how old you are, Madison. I don't know how long you've been doing what you're doing, but I think with age comes a confidence about talking about things as well. And having a support system in terms of, I can tell, and she talks about it, that she is well off. She has money right now. She's in a place where if some shit happened, she's okay. She has the support to be I got this. We got this kind of thing.
That is actually true.
That too.
If you take too much iron, you can end up constipated or have diarrhea. So
exactly.
It's people
your body can react one of two ways.
I should increase my iron without having ever seen a doctor. Y'all,
supplements we can't are not just
diagnosing ourselves like that. You can't just be like, oh, I'm super tired. And the last time I was this tired, I needed to get more iron. It could also be a vitamin D deficiency. So this is why you have to go see a doctor and have blood drawn.
Yeah.
And have them figure it out for you. I know we don't all have money. I'm one of the people who don't have money. I know we don't all have insurance. But please.
Also, I would love to hear, so Legal and Lipstick, who does have a YouTube channel, JDE, I would love to hear her take on this. I think it's just an interesting world, thinking about one. I think for me, when it started, when I started feeling the perspective that maybe these two are intertwined, the Without a Crystal Ball lawsuit and the Halo Beauty lawsuit, when I started thinking and realizing from details that were being discussed that they are intertwined, that's when I was like, oh, this is a bigger puzzle to solve. Everyone is welcome here, even if you're just I don't know what's going on.
Then poor Harley, she was doing so good, but now she got a little drunk. So did I, girl. I'm eating though. So that's the thing is
I'm waiting for food to be delivered. So
I'm literally soaking up that booze at this
also
point.
The supplements can interact with prescribed meds, so tread lightly, friends. And there's this there's this very toxic perspective that everyone needs supplements and everyone is not eating and getting all the vitamins, blah, blah, blah. You might not be wrong on that, but you also need to understand that if you're already taking other medicines, so if you're already taking other medicines, thus you maybe have a little bit more access to a doctor than everyone, it's worth just having a conversation and being like, look, I want to take a multivitamin or I want to take this or that. Are there any things I shouldn't be taking or I shouldn't have in my multivitamin?
There is a specific reason that your doctor's office, almost all of them, have you fill out paperwork saying what medications you're taking. It's not just like, and I know that they'll say over the counter, but I think a lot of people forget to include any kind of vitamins or supplements that they're taking.
Yeah.
Just remember to include that stuff because it could be the difference in between like, yay, life, and some medications, death. Like,
yeah. And this is interesting. So Gabby said, honestly, a lot of product materials and what's sold on Amazon and retail isn't vetted properly. And America has been deregulated, has had deregulated protections for consumers for decades. Mm-hmm. And that's why all of the supplements, all of the like consumable skincare, like all of that, I just don't trust it because there's not, I don't think there are practices in place that actually make it provable that like this works.
Yeah, because like, so there are people who take like multivitamins every day, which
this is interesting. Laura says, turns out vitamin B really messes with my mental health.
Yeah, because I mean, the majority of multivitamins, I'm going to say based on several different specials I have seen where doctors have talked about multivitamins, the majority of them you are pissing out, they don't do anything for you. The only way, the best way is obviously to eat foods that have it. Then secondary is for you to get the concentrated, like that vitamin specifically, because multivitamins is just treating a bunch of shit, right? And if you don't have a calcium deficiency, why are you there's no need for you to add calcium to your life. That's one of the reasons why they will say that you're peeing out most of it, because the only thing that you're really taking is whatever you actually needed. So multivitamins in a lot of ways are kind of useless. So this is why it is important for you to see a doctor and figure out what's wrong or what vitamins you may need to kick up, and or a dietitian if you are looking at, switching to being a vegetarian or a vegan. It's so important to have these people to be able to talk to you about it. Otherwise, you're just making a whole ass mess.
And Olivia is saying, I'm a licensed ND, nutritional, maybe I'm thinking nutritionist, dietitian, something like that. And we're trained in all meds and supplements and herbs, etc. And the interactions are so tricky. Products are crap and some straight up dangerous. Talking supplements and herbs. And I've heard a lot about how like different vitamins can counteract each other. So you might be like, well, I need vitamin D and I need calcium and I need vitamin C and I need vitamin A or something. But unless a professional, whether it is, as somebody else said earlier, like a pharmacist at a drugstore, or you're a doctor or a dietitian or a nutritionist tells you, you might not be able to take certain vitamins together, because then they'll just nullify each other. They'll like, oh, well, you took this and this together, but taking them together means that neither one of them work. So, yeah. So I think there's a lot, and that's why the whole like Halo Beauty part of it, I was like, I don't trust you. Like when the first product that you release is a supplement.
Yeah.
I think that was really a sign for me. Like, I think I had already unsubscribed to Taaaaaati at that point. But when I saw that was her first launch as a brand, I was just like, yeah, I think I'm right.
You're like, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Whew. I'm like eating all the food, and then give me like 5 seconds to get him situated and I shall return.
Okay.
I just got to get him to sit down, because now that I don't have food, I need to get him like to where he understands I don't have it. So I will be right back, y'all.
Sounds good. But it's just I don't know. The whole topic, the whole idea that this person, Katie, without a crystal ball, could be talking allegedly with James Charles's mother, allegedly with this other like third party, that's the third partner that's suing them. It's, I don't know. It's all kind of just feels very weird. That's fair, Feffy. I don't know if I was as aware. Feffy said, I was long unsubscribed when she launched that. The dismissiveness at racism got me before the shady supplements could. Yeah, I do think that when she partnered up with Jockey Strap, I was like, Oh, this is a sign. Time to go. Yes, Tati has always gave me the creeps. I feel you on that. I did fall trap at first, but Holly said, I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner and it all matters. We need to know what you're taking before we prescribe meds for you. People don't know about supplements they put into their bodies. I wonder about that. Trent says, does Without a Crystal Ball fancy herself an investigative journalist? I feel like she's just a drama channel, but I don't know if she thinks of herself as somebody investigating all the tea. Ooh, this is interesting. Emily W. says, have to give a librarian plug here too. If you have a medical library near you, the librarians there can let you see some of the databases that discuss these drug interactions. That's so fucking cool. Librarians are underrated. Olivia, when Tati released the Halo vitamins, my scientist senses were tingling and not in a good way. Yeah. I hope so, Deja. Deja says, I think it'll all come together once we know who Without a Crystal Ball source is, because that has to come out. Oh, Telsey, thank you. So what I actually have right on my my lip is Red Giant from Terra Moon, which is a single eyeshadow. It's also in my inner corners, but what's on most of my face is where is it? It's the beloved Chimera from Rituel de Fille, which is a cream highlight. That's like greenish and gold. It doesn't look like anything right now. But yeah, I have that all here and here and here. Yeah. Smells like lavender, which is not my favorite, but
okay, I have his blanket and pillow down. He should be good now. He probably is going to run around, but the blanket and pillow lets him know, like,
it's time to chill. Chill. Oh, I didn't know that. Without a Crystal Ball has called herself a journalist. I roll indeed.
Yeah, and that's a good thing that Emily did bring up is like journalism. You really do, if you're going to call yourself a journalist, whether you go through the classes in college or whether you take them on Skillshare or whether you do the research on like Google, you need to know the ins and outs of what true journalism is. Like, and there's a fact that there is no actual, like, there's an inability to not be biased. Anybody who tries to say that they're not biased, they can't say that. Most people can't say they're not biased. Virtually everyone's going to have a bias of some form or another, and it will color their work, but they try their best not to let their personal bias affect them. So like, if she's going to call herself a journalist, I would personally call bullshit on that, because it's become very obvious based on other people's comments that she has, and here's the thing, it's not even just people who are Tati stans, it's people who formerly watched her channel and stopped watching because they felt that she had a very strong personal vendetta against some of the people that she featured on her channel. This is problematic. Like, you can't do that. Just the same way we got mad at the Viewer's Voice and Dustin Daly and Rich Lux for having a very bias towards Jefferson.
Yes.
We also have to feel that same way when even if you don't like somebody. Like, I do not like Jalopity Staircase, but there's also a point where I have to realize I can't just consume content of people who don't like him. I also need to check out stuff of people who do, so that I can get a better picture of what everyone kind of collectively thinks about this person, and make determinations on who's biased and who's not biased and where people's biases lie. Because then, you know, if I'm watching the Viewer's Voice, I know that his bias is going to lie closely towards being on the side of Jalopity Staircase. Now, there's other issues where he's going to have more of a clear, like, not be very biased, but I know that watching him talk about Jalopity Staircase is going to be a different deal. I'm aware of that. So if I decide to watch his channel, I know that if it's an issue watching Jalopity Staircase, I'm not going to watch that because I'm fully aware of where his bias is going to lie. Whether he knows it or not, that's how I feel when I'm watching it.
Yeah. And this is interesting. I didn't know this, so I'm going to say allegedly. Justice League says allegedly Katie hung herself when she started reporting on family members of Taaaati who weren't public figures. She also said James was a con man and killed his mom. Yeah. Also, for anyone that mentioned, I did mention it at the beginning, but my lip color is Empower or Empower Me by Propa Beauty. So that is what I have. Thank you all for all the love. And then Taati's lawyer also has screenshots of people saying they wouldn't buy her supplements after watching Katie Joy, who's without a crystal ball.
Yeah,
she did affect her her sales. And thank you, Gabby, for the makeup love. I can't find it. But I do think it's interesting. Just like making up stuff and finding out stuff to support that's not journalism. Technically speaking, journalism doesn't have a conclusion. Journalism is just facts and they report those. Yeah, if you have a storyline where you already know the ending of what you're going to talk about, like you're not let's see. You have to be self-aware of your own bias and then be open to accepting facts in opposition.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like we were having a conversation the other day where we were talking about like how we should approach talking to or like alerting folks that someone may have a shitty take, right? And I don't know. I think my personal feeling, I think as someone who suffers with a lot of anxiety, and a lot of that anxiety is social anxiety, I don't like the way that we constantly and consistently publicly out people, because I feel like it dog piles, right? Because if I say something against someone, I have 7,000 some odd subscribers. But if someone who, like, let's say Teresa's dead sees it and she's like, oh yeah, I saw the shit, fuck that. Well, she has almost 40,000 subscribers at this point. Doesn't she have 40,000? She hit 40,000.
She has 40,000, yeah.
So she has 40,000 subscribers at this point. So she's adding her 40,000 subscribers to the conversation. And of course, the majority of them are going to agree with her. So now we have almost 50,000 people ganging up on one person. And my bias is that I know what it's like to be backed into a corner, and I don't like it. And I know that my interactions in that situation are either I'm going to completely shut down, or with a lot of people, you double the fuck down on whatever bullshit that you have in your mind. You're going to just double down on it and be like, whatever, because that many people are coming at you. You don't have that sense that you would normally have if you're talking with a friend to sit down and go, you know what, let me just calm the fuck down. Let me hear what they're saying. Let me hear where they're coming from. When your Twitter is blowing up like that, or your like comments in a YouTube video are just exploding to the point where there's just a lot of people coming at you telling you how wrong you are and what a piece of shit you are, because people aren't nice anymore. Like people, you may be saying things nicely. I may be saying, are you sure that this is the stance that you want to make? Right.
And I'm more with Yanni, where it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes, depending on the situation, saying nothing could let predatory behavior continue. I'm more of the person where I'm like, if it's important to me, I might call it out. Yes. But I don't. But I understand what you're saying about dogpiling. But I think there's a very big difference between having people in your life that you care about, that you trust, coming to you and being like, "Hey, what's happening here? What's going on?" And then just having the general public come at you. But I think the problem is that sometimes they happen in the same inbox. Yeah, they happen in the Twitter inbox. So even if you're trying to be a good person and say, hey, I saw this happen, it's still going to get ignored because you're one of many messages. So I think it's a weird space. Also, I saw some confusion in the chat. So people were saying, I think Without a Crystal Ball was saying that James Westbrook, Taati's husband,
JW his mom, and he
not James Charles.
Yes, not James Charles. Yeah, James Westbrook, who we will refer to as JW. Yeah, JW's mother passed, and apparently there's like some allegedly shady dealings that took place with him gaining the estate. It has to do with like lawsuits between his family and an estranged sister. I don't know all the details, but that's not the first or the last, I guess, of his alleged shady dealings.
Yes. But there was a question from Lisa earlier asking, how does this relate to James Charles's mom?
Oh.
And I feel like there was some, but I don't know the facts of it, but there was some information about Crystal or Katie without a crystal ball being in communication with James Charles's mom.
Fun fact. This is a question we all want the answer to because for those of y'all listening, it says out of topic. I still wonder why Taaaati prioritized suing without a crystal ball when I think she wanted to sue Jeff and Shane, if I am not mistaken, from her breaking her silence video. I am still thinking about that. So are we. Je suis. We're all wondering that because it's very, very strange that like, because to me personally, from what I looked at, I feel like that whole situation is what really brought about the like of Taaaati, the downfall to me. And I feel like the situation was not made better by that bullshit ass apology that really did not like, had she come in, this is my opinion, how I would have felt about it. If she had come in and said like, yes, I allowed myself to be, manipulated and tricked into but at the end of the day, I made this video. I made these choices.
Yes.
I chose to hurt a basic, like essentially, honestly, let's be honest, a child, because we need to start calling 18-year-olds adults because they're not. You're only in America, you're not an adult at 18. You can only go to war. Everything else you can't do until you're 21. So I'm not calling you an adult. Yeah. So, and I don't mean that as any shade to anyone who is under that age, but I don't feel like that. Like I used to think that. And now I started to realize like, no, you can't do any, you can't smoke, you can't drink until you're 21. So there's zero reason to call somebody an adult at 19. Yeah. So
you can't even rent a car until you're 25. So like,
so it's she didn't, if she had said like, I made the choice to harm a 19-year-old boy, I made the choice to dismiss a fellow female creator on this platform against racism. Like I dismissed that. And those were choices I made that were bad. And for that, I am sorry. No one else is to blame for the choices I made here. Because no matter how you are manipulated as adults,
it's still your decision.
No matter how we are manipulated, we still made those decisions. And I will say that as somebody who has made several fucking shitty takes in my life and made shitty decisions off of being manipulated to do so, but it's still my fault. I still made the choice. Some of them, I'm like, I was 34 years old. So I still made these choices to do these things. And it doesn't matter what other people said or did. I decided at the end of the day. So to anyone that I heard at that point in time, it's my job to say like, I am sorry. It doesn't matter what these people did. It doesn't matter that they said that. It doesn't matter. Like I still made choices. And if she had done that, I don't think we would have either of these lawsuits right now. Because she wouldn't be losing subscribers.
I still think the lawsuits would exist because I think what she did with Halo Beauty was fucking sus. But
yeah.
My alleged take on the whole, why didn't she sue Shane? Why didn't she sue Jeffrey? Is because my alleged take on this is that she was not innocent. And that the apology and that the message that she relayed in her apology video was her painting herself in the best light possible. And you can't sue somebody when you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
As Feffy said, she's not going to sue uber rich dudes. They fucking suck, as she does for making the video, but they would kick her ass. I don't think she's innocent in that equation. I don't think so, because I think that her whole Bye Sister video was homophobic. She had no proof that she was willing to share. If you don't have proof that you're willing to share, what's the point of talking about this?
And I think she would also have difficulty proving that they did, in fact, get her to do these things.
Exactly.
That's the other thing. Like, she can't sue them because she would have, to me, my opinion, she would have a difficult time trying to prove that their end goal was for her to do this thing. You would have to really, like, that is some spy shit. And
like,
you would have to be able to prove and have like a documented record that that's what they were doing, which nobody's going to have. I'm going to say, like, nobody's going to have that. She's not going to have them on camera or on video or on tape saying, like, we need you to do this thing so that we can do this. Like, that's not going to happen.
I think Olivia puts it simply. I think that they have some shit on Taaaati. I think that they have some shit that she's not willing to expose herself for. Now, I think with the lawsuit with this guy Clark and Halo Beauty, I think that put her in this place of like, oh, I gotta fucking do some shit. And then you see somebody like Without a Crystal Ball who might be working allegedly with this other person to reveal the lawsuit information, or possibly in communication with James Charles allegedly. And so you're like, that's the small fish I'm going to go get. That's the fish I'm going to go catch. I'm going to go sue them. But the reality is that no matter what, you still have this other Halo Beauty shit that you have to deal with. On that note, I think my food is delivered. I'm going to hop off camera, but I'm still listening, just so you know.
So Maddie is saying, like, she's never been very good friends with anyone and just did her own thing, and she should have just stayed doing that if she can't handle her personal business. So here's what I'm going to say about YouTube. YouTube is can be lonely. And then at that time when she started like palling around with Jeffree Star, you have to remember that YouTube, like around 2016 was a pretty big year between, like, I feel like 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, because there were all these brand trips and there were all these cliques that were forming, right? Taaaati wasn't a part of any of that because she stayed in her own world, because she was like, I'm an unproblematic queen, which that's a whole other kettle of fish. But because she stayed in her own lane, stayed in her own world, stayed on her own little side, the thing was she was missing out on everything that everybody else is doing. Everybody else is coming out with collaborations. Everybody else is coming out with their own brands. Like, all of this stuff starts happening where everybody's doing all of these big things and they're doing it together. They're having pictures together. They're going on trips. They're going on vacations. They're just like hanging out. I feel like at some point she had kind of hit a plateau. And this is, for all of you who are creators, it is very tempting when you hit a subscriber plateau to just like jump on whatever train, right? If having brand new products is the train, then you jump on it and you just like buy a bunch of shit you don't need or want because this is going to build up your platform. The problem is that only works for as long as that is popular. So like YouTube friendships, people still like, but that Mean Girls clicky thing died out after like Dramageddon 1. We started to realize like, oh, that's ugly. Like, ugh. But people still wanted to see their faves hang out. They still wanted to see their faves hang out together. And since there weren't a lot of people knocking down Taati's door, because remember, Taati is an older YouTuber like myself. She's not a 20-something YouTuber. She's not 22. She's not 23. I think she's 34, 36, I can't remember, but she's not young, and there's nothing wrong with it because y'all know I'm 40, resident old bitch of YouTube. So it's harder when you are of this age. How do you make friends with other people on YouTube? Like, how do you get there? And I feel like Googling her age, but it's like, how do you get there and get to a point where like you can hang out with everybody, but also not necessarily have to do all the things that they're doing? Like, you don't necessarily want to get drunk and hang out at the club. You know what I mean? Like, those aren't things that you necessarily want to do. And no, that is not what I asked for. So because of those things, you're like, she's 38 years old. Okay. So she's 2 years younger than me. So at that age, a lot of us, well, we might club and party and like do whatever, right? At 40 years old, I don't want to hang out with like 22-year-old YouTubers who are like partying right now. Like, if I lived in Los Angeles right now, I would not want to hang out with the Tana Mojos and the James Charleses, not just because of their personalities, but literally because I am too old and too tired for that. I'm like, when is this party starting? Is it starting at 6 p.m.? Is it ending at 10? Great, I'll be there. Because I'm old and I am tired. So like, I'm not going to this shit. If they're like showing up at 10:30, I'm like, 10:30, bitch, I am in my pajamas.
Old and tired is just a mood. I'm just going to say that.
So it's like, there is a level of her wanting to hang out. And quite honestly, at this point, Jalopity Staircase wasn't really engaging as much in the party lifestyle. Like, he was showing up at events, he was showing up at things, but he was coupled with his alleged paid for boyfriend, Nate. That's allegedly contract boyfriend, Nate.
Big allegedly.
So, oh my God, I'm fucking done with life.
Same though. Same.
Yes, I would agree. But like, it's difficult, right? And YouTube can be lonely. And I think that she really, and I'm not giving her graces. What I'm saying is, I think she looked at this as a good business decision, a good move for her to be a part of the YouTube community in such a way that she didn't necessarily have to go to all these parties and do all of this stuff, but she could be seen as like hip and new and get a new audience without having to like do the extra shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, when Manny and all of them were going and doing all of this stuff, it was just easier to not have to do that part of it. And at the time that she was 36, I would have wanted to either. Because like, listen, my 36-year-old clubbing days were rough. They were rough. I was getting tired pretty early. I was like, are we still at this bar? What time is that? Oh my God, we've only been here for an hour. It is exactly 8:45. This is unfortunate. Like, this is that.
You're like, I don't want to be here right now. Why are we doing this right now? What?
At 36, listen, I have reached this particular stage of old where before the hellmouth, as Tony would say, opened, I would go to a bar at like 4 p.m., y'all, 4 p.m. As soon as the lights started to dim and the club music started to come on, like they started to get louder in there, I was like, oop, it's time for me to go. The lights dimming was my sign. Whereas before, the lights coming on was my sign that it was time to go. All right, that's where we are. Like, now I'm like, ooh, child, the lights just dimmed. It's got dark in here. It's time for me to take my ass home. Let me just have one more shot before I walk out, though. And I'm walking home, by the way. I'm not driving. I'm going to have one more shot before I walk home. I'm like, shit, this got little.
I love that you're like, the lights are dimming is my sign. Like,
oh. It is so funny, like looking at y'all in here, just like feeling the same way that I did. Oh, y'all are killing me. Like, 2016 is when you graduated high school. Oh, wow. I am an old ass bitch. Like Trin said, oh, to be young. You only hang out with your 20-year-old roommates.
Yeah, I just.
Yes.
Oh, wait, what was that? Oh.
Lisa Marie said, wait, I've never heard that before. Do people think that Nate allegedly was a contract boyfriend? Allegedly, yes, we do think that allegedly he was, in fact, a contracted boyfriend. 5 years and it was over. And then he just went on with his life. Here's the thing. It would be different if he was like busted up or like nothing. Like, both of them kind of just went on with their lives. That to me seems contractually obligated. And then the obligation's over. Allegedly.
I mean, here's the thing is that I think because it was that moment when you're like, that was 5 years almost exactly. And I was like, you're right. Like, before I was like, I don't know. But then I realized, like, even if it started in a way, also, Feffy asked about turning on slow chat. I'm trying to figure that out in the behind the scenes part of my YouTube. And
go live. Go in your YouTube channel. Did you go to, you have to go to the create and go live?
Yes, I'm like in the back of house part of the stream right now.
Okay, then go on to the settings and you have to scroll. And it'll be there.
Okay. Scroll. It's telling me I can't go to settings. I should go to edit. And I'm
go to edit because like they moved it to edit. So like scroll. I hear Kitty.
Yes, Kitty is. Wait.
And by the way, Maria, while the house is doing this, Maria D said the DJ is like, okay, let's get this party started. Audra's like, time to go home. Like, there's nothing more real than that. Yes. Okay. Boy, if you do not stop aggressively licking your junk, I am going to come get you. I'm in my 20s and I don't hang out with 20-year-olds. It's just very tired. It's tiring. I'm always the one on the floor. People are adding, hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm the DD. I'm just dancing. That's a long ass boyfriend contract. I couldn't do it, rich or not. Listen. Rich people are weird. That's not allegedly. That's mostly a fact. When you find out about most rich people and the shit that they do, you're like, rich people are fucking weird.
Also, okay, I just changed it. So every 15 seconds should be the thing. Also, welcome T.
Hi,
T said y'all probably winding now, but I'm going to say hi. I miss you, LGT.
Thank you so much. I was going to get in contact with you, and then, like, I chickened out like I always do.
I'm chicken out. I'm going to be a friend.
Every time I'm like, oh, maybe I'll ask T if she wants to. Never mind.
And I'm over here, a friend that's like, ask the question.
I can't do it. I can only do like
on live stream. But
maybe if I'm like drunk, I'll like be like, hey.
I love this Lisa Marie. On New Year's, I got a ride home at 11 p.m. and the Uber driver was asking if I was going out. Nope, I'm going home. Yeah. Also, yes, I think Nate was the smartest of all of them. He got the money and got the fuck out. Like the fact that allegedly L'Oreal offered $500 million to buy Jebediah Stankfish's business back whenever that happened.
Sure.
And 2020 has hit and all of this has happened. I might understand why he's bitter. Let's just say that. T says, I've been working nonstop. I want to hang Audra. Yes. Nate said we would have done it for a check. He was going to be employee of the month, and that's on Pyramid.
Sorry, y'all. I was just checking to make sure my son, I don't know what he'd be chewing on, but it's like massive. You know, Nate is doing other people. But yeah, so at the end of the day, like, I don't know if I answered this because food came. I think that it really depends on the outcome of these suits as to how it's going to make Taati look. Like right now, I don't think it makes her look good, if I'm going to be honest. Currently, as we sit, I don't think it makes her look good. But I also think that the reason it doesn't make her look good is because of how her reputation, how she ruined her own reputation, right? Like, so because she destroyed a reputation and because of the way people didn't take her apology, I think that currently it just looks like another sad, fragile white woman calling for help, right? Like, oh, people are being mean to me. So that's what it looks like, even though that isn't necessarily it, right? So if she loses, then it's just going to continue to make people think like the worst of her. And this will only be something else to add on to the why I hate Taati train. I don't hate Taati. I'm just saying that'll be just like something else to add on to that. So that's problematic. And I feel like until we figure out how this works out and as more details kind of shake loose, like I think that the Without a Crystal Ball lawsuit is helping to offset the negativity of the partner lawsuit, because we're finding out so much about Without a Crystal Ball really just like having like a feeling for Taati. So that kind of sensation is helping to offset this other side of it. So like, that's cool.
I truly don't think Tati will come back to YouTube unless she has something to sell. She's doing the same thing that Jacqueline and Jeffrey have done. But I do think, T's asking more than one person is suing Tati. There is so basically, I'm going to try to summarize. I'm going to try. Her business partner, is suing James and Tati, so the third person in the party. But then she is suing this channel called Without a Crystal Ball, who is, and I don't say this lightly, but seems obsessed with her in like an actual like obsession way. And so she is suing, and we are thinking it's Halo Beauty suing Without a Crystal Ball for damages because they feel like that her videos are damaging the business. Also, I have no idea what Nate actually looks like, and whenever anyone refers to him, I picture Chase Crawford.
You're actually not that far off, to be honest. You're actually not that far off. No. Nate is kind of a little bit of a delectable snack. I don't like to say that out loud because I feel uncomfortable because he's so young.
A little bit, yeah.
But he's cute. Like, he's cute.
Yeah. He's like a slightly more, I think, rough or gruff.
Chase like Chase Crawford, if Chase Crawford didn't go to boarding school and instead went surfing and snowboarding and skateboarding.
Yeah. I like this. Nate was attractive in a standard way.
Yes. Yeah. He's just very like, he's like white boy hot. Like that's the only way I can put it.
Billabong and PacSun.
Yes.
Nate was prom king in 2001. He comes off as a 30-year-old skater boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Professionally high boy.
Yes. Yes. He's that guy who like, he's that guy who you randomly run up on at the beach, right? And like you go over to his like their bonfire and you just get a little and then you just kind of like do a little and then you roll out. Like that's what he reminds me of. That was a lot of sound effects for that situation.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Also, Laura, I'm with you, laughs and gay. This is interesting. Andrew, Shane's camera guy, and Garrett Watts are coming out with a podcast. So either my predictions, one of two, because I can never decide, either they continue to be his friend and like are covering, or they're gonna reveal shit. But I actually don't believe they're gonna reveal shit in my take. You do paint a beautiful picture. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Okay, so listen.
Yes, the kitty is. Tyrion is
making his like presence known.
Oh, I see it. There's a little mothy guy in here because it's the season around here, and so I have prey. Nate is the guy that goes to you, but you don't even care because he just beat. He just beat you to it. You're both like, it was good, but we don't really care.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't feel like he has stroke game or anything like that. I just feel like it would just be like boring. Like I just feel like it's drunk love, you know? It would just be like drunk love where you both like kind of like not like you're consciously aware of what you're gonna do, but it's like it's sloppy and like not great.
That's why I love Tread. Will Andrew be giggling in it? Because if so, then I'm out. I don't know. That just made me laugh. Carnival relationships.
For those of you listening, it says, Audra, I think you're describing carnival relationships. Get out before the sun comes up and the magic is over. Hi, Ruthie.
That's fair. Nate is the boy in the summer you forget once the first fall leaf turns. Yes. And yes, Audra is wearing the Kaleidos Astro Pink palette.
He's the guy. Nate is the guy who should have been singing, I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. I'm fucking done. I'm so sorry.
This, Holly says, I'm sure I hooked up with some version of Nate on spring break in 1999. Yes.
Yeah, I've hooked up with many versions of that.
Not LFO. Yes, LFO. All the LFO.
Like he should be like that's like he should have been in that music video, and then also he is the guy on the beach playing the guitar, but he's playing Jack Johnson songs.
Jack Johnson, a throwback if there was.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Nate looks like the human version of 2002. I am finished.
And then Laura that explains why I didn't know it. Yeah, bonding and gay. You don't really need to know.
Oh, I'm finished. I'm finished with that. I cannot breathe.
Server boy, Nate.
I'm finished. Like y'all are wrong for that. Human friend, Deja, you are in timeout. You are in timeout for that.
He's definitely been backstage to a Blink 182 concert.
Anyways, here's a Wonderwall. Oh.
He's laughing all the way to Hot Topic.
Yes, thank you.
He is.
Oh, yes, Wonderwall. Yes. Because you always know, like, listen, I lived in Los Angeles. I went to USC. The amount of times that you would walk into the room or area with the guitar playing guy. Oh my God.
Mina says, Nate tells you your body is a wonderland and you feel yourself physically rejecting him.
It's the amount of times you go in and they'd be like, because it would be like tuning, like, and they look at everybody, they look up and they're like, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then he's like, and I'm like, please stop. Please make it stop. I am not. This isn't happening.
No.
Eric.
I like this. The American flag trucks. Also, good night, Maria. Thank you.
Good night, Maria.
Audra, Nate is every Trojan to the tune of I'm every woman.
Like he just like it's not even his fault.
Alex Ahmed, Nate is the kind of guy I'd find attractive, and then I get to know him, and my bisexuality would turn a hard gay turn. I feel that to my core because there's moments with Nate where I'm like, I can see it, and then I like will see more of like him interacting, particularly when he would interact with Jockstrap, and I was just like, oh no, I'm good.
Here's the thing. I have had that happen in real life where like I was like, you're cute. And like we started talking. Okay. I think I've told this story, but it was such a long time ago. I hooked up with this nerd. We'll call him a nerd. I don't remember his name because I live an interesting life. So I was not going to put my mouth on that carrot because I did not know him well enough for my mouth to be on said carrot. So I gave him a handy. When I tell you, he had apparently never had a handy in his life. That the next time we hung out, he was begging me to do that again, and I was physically repulsed. And I don't mean like literally was like, please, can you do that again, please? And I was like, sir, this is a handy. This is a handy, sir. Do you not do this to yourself? Like, that's when I learned.
Always wash your vegetables, friends.
Thank you. That's when I learned that apparently some people have never handled their own carrots, because if they had, he would not have been so enamored of me doing that. Like, and so my taco, the lettuce folded in, all of the toppings went back inside down to the bottom of
Did
the
your taco turn into a burrito?
It did.
But like it turned into a dumpling. Your taco turned into a dumpling. It closed up shop. It went from this to bump.
It was awful. It was awful. It has not been confirmed, Gabby, that that has not been confirmed, but that is allegedly what a lot of us believe. Large amounts of us. Yeah. Unfortunately, T, I believe, was 36 years old at the time that this happened. And
no, you deserve better than that.
He was like 32 years old, so there was no reason for him to not.
You deserve better than that.
Yeah, he wasn't. Listen, that was in my I'm getting divorced and I'm doing everything phase, y'all. I would like to try to tell you that when you get divorced, like, not to do that, but you're going to do that, so Godspeed.
Yes, taco with lettuce. I love this. It's a turn off when they're too impressed.
Yes, that's thank you. Like, when I didn't even, apparently we've officially entered the gutta part of this chat.
Well, just before the 2-hour mark.
Literally don't know what to say when I am literally giving you nothing. Like when you're like, yes, girl, give us nothing. I did that. Because here's what happened. Things were, getting there. And then at some point he did or said something. Usually it was said something weird where I was like, ugh. And then I was just like, I just want this to be over with. This is horrible. Why did you say that? Tip. Because it's hot when women say it. It's for some reason, it's just not when men say it. When you barely have the tip of the carrot into the taco and your dumb ass is like, do you like that? The answer is no. Everything's gone. It's over. Your dirty talk skills, 0. 0 out of 0.
The taco is closed for business. Sorry. Goodbye.
It's hard. Like, I would not recommend. 0 stars.
Also, I love this. Meg, also next time I don't want to shave, I'm just going to ask you what lettuce with that. Yes. And yes, a man over 22 asking for an old-fashioned is Bush League, to be honest.
She said an old-fashioned, but then she said Bush League, which is also funny. BT Dubs, like, Lord, don't worry.
Also, Maddie, this gave me a lot of joy.
Stop.
Yes, males stay impressed with mediocre ass. Like, with my mediocre ass, that's hilarious.
Listen, I know. I am also a nerd / geek. But I am also, to be fair, a very experienced nerd geek, because I did not deflower myself until the age of 21. That doesn't make me special. That just makes me, I had my own place to do it.
But did you personally deflower yourself before then? I'm just being nosy now.
Like self-fun times?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Mutual deflowering is what we'll call that.
Wait, what, Arsena? I said hi to a guy who smiled at me, and then he pulled out his carrot. When I tell you, I paused and almost threw up. This is why men are canceled in my book.
So you give them nothing. This is why men deserve nothing.
Condiment for my taco. Emmylou, y'all need to look up the funniest dirty talk story on Reddit. I died laughing.
Look at
this. Everyone is not doing it. Also, yes, lesbians.
Yeah, you're just not. I think that, like, because for me, and here's the thing, I came from a household where my mother was very open and honest with me about the birds and the bees. So I had zero desire to just like rush out and do, and like you couldn't convince me of doing it. And also all of the boys that I went to high school with and most of the girls who would have been into me, they were just not, no. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this. So I held on to it. Then it became a papoose around my fucking back. I was just like, it became so much. Like, it was like I was carrying 75 backpacks. And every time, it's not like people were like, oh my God, you're a virgin. But it was also like, they were like, you're a virgin? Weird. But like, not in like a movie way where it was like, this is a challenge. It was just, it became more stressful to deal with it. Like, it just became like the stressful thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care about it being someone I loved with, I was in love with. And then it felt like the longer that you had it, it felt like more and more you had to like do this. It had to be special. And then it was like, it starts getting like really stressful.
And I feel like, okay, this is not something I'm going to say about everyone, because I know everyone like loses their fake made up virginity. That's my take on it, at their own age and their own time. But I personally feel like, especially if your high school experience wasn't like the most amazing high school experience. Now, this is not, again, not true for everyone, but I feel like I wasn't 21 until I think I was 21 when I finally like, had any kind of what you would consider sex with anyone. But I think it's like when you're not necessarily having a great high school experience, why would you want to fuck anyone in that high school? Like,
I did not
take on it. I had no desire to like do that with anyone in my high school.
Yeah, I was not a fan. It wasn't anything I wanted to do. I was like, please don't have sex with me.
You're like, I don't want it. Please, just you keep it. But yeah, I think it's just hard. Like, if you obviously, like, everyone has, again, their time or whatever, or you have your own pressures that make you make a decision at whatever age you make. But I think that if you're like, I don't know, my take on it was that I was such an outcast that there was literally no one in my high school where I would be like, yes, I want to be intimate with you at all, period. But I'm also now asexual, so my experience is a little unique, you would say. But I think for a lot of people that don't lose it in high school, there's all this like shame or whatever about it, and you're like, no, I just wasn't the right person or wasn't the right moment. I also just hate all the pressure that gets put on you to actually lose your virginity when it's like, okay, but if I'm not excited about somebody, then why would I do that? Why would I give it up for people? Also, yay, Lore. Yay, Ace Buddy. Yeah. And Feffy says, I'm 35, still haven't listened to people. I'm not missing out. I personally actually, like, my first sexual, like, experience like that was with a woman. I've had experiences with a man, just one, and it was like proof enough where I was like, I'm good, but my actual virginity was from a woman, and it was definitely my virginity lost, but I'm also just like, okay, I'm good. Like,
I'm only laughing because you said that that one time was all you needed. You're like, yeah, no, I'm gay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm not against men, but if this is a sample experience I've had, I might be against it.
Yeah, like, the thing is, it's like, yes, the pressure to lose it and then the shame when you do. And the thing of it is, too, is like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal, but it's like not a big deal. It's like both of the things. It's both of the things, which many people won't tell you. It isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal. Like, because once you have it, it's like, oh, okay. Because I will tell you, my first time, I had it with a gentleman who questioned whether or not I was a virgin because I did not actually bleed. And so he
for you.
He was like, "Are you sure you're a virgin? You didn't bleed?" And I was like, "Get the fuck out of my house." And he was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, get out of my house. Get out." And I made him leave. Then I called the goth boy that I had been hooking up with for quite a while, but for some reason, stupidly, didn't opt to have sex with him. And then I had him come over and fix the whole situation. And then I was like, oh my God, sex does not suck. Like, it sucked the first time because of the guy that I was with. But the second time, it was amazing. And was it in the same day? Yes. Do I care? Absolutely not. It was fantastic. I was very happy that I rectified the situation and I felt amazing.
And this is why I get less angry about your situation, is because you had somebody else who did help rectify the situation and it wasn't all terrible. But still, the fact that men have the audacity to be like, well, you didn't bleed, so are you actually a virgin? One, whether or not I'm a virgin is none of your fucking business, reality. But two, are you a doctor? Do you know my body? No, you don't, because this is the first time you've been inside of me. Shut the fuck up. Like, he rectified the situation.
Well, and honestly, like that situation is what made me far more open to polyamorous relationships, because I realized that you don't have to just be like involved with one person forever. And for some people, that works. For me, not exactly. Sort of. If we've agreed on monogamy, it works. But if we have not, I'm out doing whatever I want. Because I don't feel like I should have to. I don't feel like I should have to like settle down with you and like sit at my house waiting for you to call me. And I think that that is a thing that like a lot of modern feminists are trying to get out there. We're not saying be promiscuous. I think a lot of people mistake women saying this. I'm like, no, I'm not saying go be promiscuous, and if that's what you want to do. But I think a lot of us are saying you have control over what you like, and you should enjoy that, and you should not feel like you were waiting for this other person who is treating you as an option to call you for an evening out. You know, like you shouldn't have to be sitting there waiting for them to pay attention to you. You should literally get to go do you. Like, if we're not monogamous, then I do me and I have a good time. If we are, and you've made that, like had a conversation saying we're monogamous, we're together, okay. If we are having the conversation that this shit is open, cool. But please know, because straight cis men are notorious for having issues with wanting, and here's what I'll say. Straight cis men notoriously will talk to their partner and want an open relationship and then be mad about said open relationship when they're not getting all of the peaches that they were expecting to have, and she's getting all the carrots. And they're very annoyed by that. And they get very annoyed.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that like monogamy is a discussion. That's the thing. And I think that a lot of men don't understand. This is my take on it, is that a lot of men don't understand that. And until you have a discussion about like, okay, this is what we're choosing to do, that doesn't, like, you're not tied down to anything. But also, if you do choose to stay open as an open relationship, guys are like, oh, well, you're with someone. And what they're saying is like, I didn't expect you to be able to get somebody else. I thought I could get somebody else, and I thought I could get multiple other people, but now you're with somebody else, and now I'm questioning all of it. And it's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have conversations about open relationships if you're not actually open to the idea of being open.
Yes. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand about a lot of like the difference between having a polyamorous relationship and an open relationship, number one, a lot of open relationships / marriages, it's majority, not all, but majority of the time, it's just sexual. And that's all it is. It's not actually a full relationship. And it's misleading because they put the word they put the word relationship in there, open relationship, which means your relationship is open, but it's not necessarily relationships with other people. With a polygamous relationship, you are having meaningful connections with other people. And you are all aware of these things. A lot of times in open relationships, the other people are not necessarily aware that you're just fulfilling a need. You can be honest, which I highly recommend if you're going to do open relationship type stuff. You can be honest. Highly recommend that you do. But the key thing here is that in a lot of open relationships, it's just a sexual satisfaction. It's not actually like a relationship. If a relationship were to happen, that actually moves more into polygamy, because at that point you're saying like, I'm having a relationship with this person, I'm having a relationship with this person, I'm having a relationship with this person. We all know that we're having relationships with each other. And depending on how you do that, sometimes like if it's one woman and 3 men, there are times depending on how you frame that, she is not dating anybody else and neither are you, or she can be dating other people, but you cannot. It's however y'all frame the relationship.
Yeah.
But it's also all communication all the time. And I think that it is very important that when you get involved with someone who is having either an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship, that you really evaluate if that is something that you can handle. Because I think a lot of people walk into it thinking like, oh, this is perfect because then, I don't have to worry about this and I don't have to. But if you really start to develop some very strong feelings for that person and you begin to realize that monogamy is your thing, then you need to like bow out of that. Do not be a person who is trying to like force the other person to choose now, because they're going to not choose. 99% of the time, they're not going to choose to give up the way that they enjoy their life and the way that they feel about how love should be shared for just you. You're opening yourself up for a lot of heartache and pain in trying to force that choice.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that I feel like from an outsider in a lot of ways that I see people jump into open relationships or agree to them or agree to polyamorous relationships, but I think more of the open label without actually really thinking about what they're agreeing to, because I feel like a lot of, again, from an outsider perspective, is that people will say, oh, well, can we open up the relationship? And what they're really saying is like, I'm kind of not super into this anymore, but I'm a little afraid to leave it. So I'm going to have to open it up. And then as soon as it's open and somebody finds somebody else, it helps them realize like, oh, I was not maybe fully into this anyway. And it's not necessarily always going to happen, but
yeah, because like even with swinging and things like that, like opening it up to have like consensual sexual relationships that you're both aware of and can either take part in or see and know what's happening. I think that one, a lot of people make the mistake of trying to get into that to save a relationship. It does not save a relationship. It will never save your relationship, because you're thinking we're going to be adventurous, and it's not even that jealousy gets involved. A lot of it is that you're putting a Band-Aid on like an arterial spray wound, and it's not going to work. Like,
no matter how big the band is.
And so you can't use exciting activities in the sexual realm as a way to fix a relationship. But I think a lot of times if people would take a deep breath and look and go, okay, would this make me happy to be in a relationship where we were openly dating other people? Now, some people might say no. A lot of people would be like, initially, a lot of people were like, no. But what if you were both openly in, like you're in an open relationship, you talked about the fact that you were seeing other people? Because I think the thing is, people think that details are being shared. And no, you don't have to share details. Just the fact that you're like, we're dating other people. I feel like without it being poly or necessarily even open, just in the realm of dating, to be able to say that would alleviate so many problems with dating, because I feel like there's like this weird thing where you start dating somebody and you're not sure what's happening. So you're just waiting for them, and then they could be dating other people. And then you're like, I didn't realize that we were doing that. And if I had known that, then I wouldn't have just like been dating just you. And I feel like there's a lot of selfishness involved in there. And I think that which is funny because people think that poly and open relationships are the selfish ones. And a lot of those relationships are the most selfless relationships you will see, because of the fact that they realize that other people need other things, right? So
I think that's very interesting. Understand the complexity of poly, and that it's not like poly and open are two, in my opinion, are two very different things.
No, it's not opinion, it's fact. They are two different things.
And to be able to choose to be poly with somebody or multiple people and have either a home in which you're sharing it with multiple people, or have a situation in which you are going in between different homes and spending time, and like, I think it's commendable in a way that I can't even totally grasp, because somebody that I've seen that started sharing more about that on their social media is Faces by Gina. Gina is in a relationship with two other people, or two people, and just like seeing it being shared in like on your Instagram, like was just a moment where I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. Like, just Gina talks about makeup, talks about repainting and politics and all of those other things, but also just like sharing, like, these are the people that I'm with. These people that I'm spending my life with. Like, I think that's the thing, is that while obviously it's a complex relationship, seeing it in places like just as a part of this person's life, and not like, oh, this is a person that I follow for because they're a sex educator or because they're a sex worker or whatever reason, and I've discovered that they are also polyamorous. No, this is just a person I follow because I like what they talk about in terms of makeup and other things, and then they share this part of their life. Like, that's what I love seeing, because again, opening the conversation on sexuality and how you live your life, and just making it just like another layer of who you are, is what I love seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to relationships, like the way in which by the way, I'm having a love stuff stream sometime Saturday. So anybody who wants to show up for that, I think it's going to be Saturday afternoon. I think it's anywhere in between 3 and 6 p.m. So just so y'all know. I think it's very, very easy for people to have judgment, right? And I think a lot of that judgment comes from, creepy churches that do this. And I'm going to say that because we see this most in cults. So creepy cult church-like behaviors is why I think a lot of people view polyamory in such a negative light, because they see like some creepy old man with like 16 sister wives. But like,
I just need to laugh at Dash.
Yes, I do too. I like, honestly.
It actually came from DoorDash tonight. That was perfectly timed. Okay.
And then Brenda Leese came in and said, I feel like it's hard to expect one person to meet all your needs, and that's why I like poly. True, I could just have more non-intimate friends, but that's exactly why I liked it, because I found that while I was in a poly relationship, one person was super attentive to my every need. One was like better sexually. Like, there were just different things that they all brought to the table that made it nice, because I didn't have to expect all of this from one person. And I felt like for the first time in a long time, I wasn't putting lots of pressure on one person to be everything that I needed.
And it's interesting. So there's something that actually T in the chat brought up for Audra and I to kind of explore as another thing to do of the many things that we do, and related to sex and different conversations about that. And that prompt kind of got me thinking about other things. And I started thinking about, and it's probably something I'll talk about on my channel at some point in time, that how many people, I think of particularly women or feminine presenting people, who are maybe single more than they ever used to be. And my take on this is that having more intimate relationships that are platonic, that are friendships, or an intimate in the way of like emotionally intimate, being more connected or sharing deeper, spending time together, Uber meets, and how like I feel like more people can be single on a more regular basis without feeling as needed to create a new relationship sexually, because they have people in their life that they're connected to in other emotional ways. And that's really nice to see. But I also see how polyamory can also fulfill that need, where you're like, okay, you know, this person satisfies me in this way, this person satisfies me in this way. Maybe they interact in their own way, or they don't interact ever, depending on their relationship. Like, I just think that the idea, I've for a very long time felt like the idea that one person is your person, is your only person, and they fulfill that void. They make you whole, which I think is you're 100% a person. Being with another person makes you 200%, makes you stronger together, whatever. But I don't think you're 50% and the other person 50%. But I can see how with polyamory, how that also fulfills a similar, like, it fills that same mindset of like, one person does not need to be your everything.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Oh, there is. Because it was nice having a person who liked metal, right? And metal shows. So we could go to metal shows together, and I didn't have to worry about convincing someone else who didn't like metal to come with me. Like, my ex-husband didn't like metal. So it was just very frustrating that every time I wanted to see a metal show, it was like a tug of war to get him to come. And then, you know, I would always go to his concerts because I was that bitch at the time. I'm not now. But like, so it's just stuff like that, where I had one person who we shared a lot of common interests, another who it was just mostly carrot. Like, they're like, we could talk a little bit, but it was mostly carrot. There's another woman in there who like fulfilled like my bi side and like let me, you know, have a female relationship. And so it was very lovely. There was also very romantic. One was just very romantic, because thank God, that because he was not good in the sack. So it was good that he was romantic. So it's like they all had these different things.
Yeah.
And together they made me happy.
Yeah. And those things that you can be one person, one part of a person's needs. You don't have to be everything. Like I know women in my life who are like, I am tired of the bullshit that is man, but also for me personally, dick does something extra special to me. And I always think, I'm like, middle-aged hoe. Yeah. Yeah. It's always anytime to be a hoe. I'm just going to say that.
Good time.
But I feel like there are people in my life who particularly say like, actually getting dick is a big part of me getting off. And I'm like, well, maybe polyamory is possibly a thing for you, where you could get other, or maybe it's not polyamory. Maybe it's just like consistently just being in a sexual relationship, but not depending on that person for emotional needs. Like, I think there's a lot of possibilities out there. Yeah.
The one is such a weird concept. The whole concept of the one is super weird, because it doesn't take into account like actual life. Number one, like, what if your one passes away, like, and you're 17 and you met them? So like, are you just supposed to not have anyone? Was that just it?
Yeah.
So, and then the other side of it is that it puts a lot of pressure on dating that doesn't need to be there. And I'm not saying that dating should have no pressure, but it puts so much pressure on like a first date of you evaluating every single thing that this person does to see if they could be the one. You know what I mean? Whereas if you were just dating and just relaxed about the situation, like there are things that you would obviously be like Trump's mortified, but there are other things where like you could very quickly assess and be like, I can't live with this, I can't live with that, in a way where like hanging out with them more. Like I could deal with their love of baseball for a couple more dates. We'll see. And if you find out you don't like it, you just like, I don't like it. But because of the principle of the one, it feels like you're like, they have to do this, and you have this list of all the things that they have to do, and then all the things that you can't stand. So it's like impossible for someone to meet all of these criteria, whether you are a woman or a man. It's impossible for any one person to meet every last ounce of your criteria. So the one sets you up for disappointment, point blank period.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I agree with this. Can we normalize, 93 Runt said, can we normalize going to certain activities by yourself? I dislike when people say, I want to go see this movie, but I can't go with. I have been, obviously with the pandemic, not so much, but I've been to so many movies by myself. I've been out to dinner with myself. I fucking love traveling by myself because then I can literally go eat, sightsee, do whatever, shop, do whatever I want by myself. I can interact with people because guess what? If you're traveling, especially if you're going to other cities, people are talkative. Like,
people are generally nice. As Meg said, I think the concept of the one is another ancient way of keeping the uterus tied to one seed spreader, helped along with intertwining it with religious salvation. Yo.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. There's
I was trying to click off.
That's okay. There is no one and nobody's perfect. You have to find somebody who rounds up to the one. That too. It's like, I think that's the other thing is like, I've seen people, take a look at somebody they're with or somebody they're possibly like kind of courting or whatever. Like, well, but they're not this or they don't do that. So like, I think it's not the right. And I'm like, okay, but you just told me 8 things about them that you really like. And you've taken 2 things that you don't like and decided that made them invalid. Like, there's a lot of reasons to stop seeing somebody. There's a lot of reasons that somebody might fall on an invalid list. But when they just don't perfectly match every single thing that you need, why does that stop you?
So, I hate to be the one to interrupt you, but I'm going to, because first things first, y'all, I need y'all to get up out here, get the Han army moving, because we are currently sitting at 2.94 subscribers. And I feel like 2020 should at least give us some good things. And one of those good things should be Emily hitting 3K, okay? This should be a thing. Emily should be hitting 3K. So I need all of you to do the best things that you can do, which is share her content, tweet it out, comment, do everything you can, please and thank you. And I'm saying this now because I am very concerned that I'm probably going to have to hop up with this live stream because I feel like the pee of all peas coming on. I have been drinking this, like, this is the cup I've been drinking out of. I feel like this much of it was Crown. We're going to move on. It is the pee of all peas.
If we're wrapping up, I want to say the thing. I'm going to say this. We are, meaning Audra and I, are starting something where we're going to talk more about things we've been talking about for the last about half an hour.
Yes.
It's not going to be only on YouTube because YouTube will demonetize the fuck out of us. And unfortunately, we have to monetize our life. That is what it is. So if you want to preemptively get it involved, I definitely recommend checking out our Patreon, particularly like the $5 tier. Get yourself in ahead of time. This is all on you, all love. I was gonna say your fault, but it's not your fault. It's all love. Also, Thorn, you came in late, but welcome. Much love to you. We love Thorn.
Cecily, you're right on the money because I'm like, whoo, and it's gonna be like. Listen, normally if it's not, I haven't had liquor in a while, but I've been drinking liquor these past few days. And let me just tell you, I'm not prepared.
Lord, DM me. If I'm on Instagram or Twitter, DM me. We can talk.
So yeah, I wasn't prepared for this happening. And now I feel like I'm going to like be in there for a while.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
like, up there.
Yeah. I feel it's one of those ones where I'm going to be making noises. So I just was like, you know what? If it's going to be that kind of a pee, like I just need to like be able to.
We've already been going for over 2 hours. It's okay. We can wrap it up. But I just wanted to say, like, if y'all are interested, if you like this kind of conversation, producer T came in and kicked our ass. That's what happened. Was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing with your life? So I'm gonna say
T and Linda, they got on her ass.
Exactly. So come in, find us. I'm gonna say we'll have more information out by the end of this month. That's my proclamation because it's November now. It's my birth month, y'all. We're gonna do things. We're gonna stop. I'm saying this like I'm gonna kick some of. I'm not gonna say my depression's gonna be gone forever, but I kick some of it to the curb. Working on that. Yes. So, Bethy, yes, again, we will have conversations. We will talk. And thank y'all for being here. We had such a good conversation about all this juicy law tea. If y'all want to talk about this more as things go on.
Yes, let us know. Because I like talking about this because because the thing that's interesting about it at the end of the day is like,
yes,
how it affects everything. Like how it affects all of us on the YouTubes.
Yes, and on that note, thank you so very much. Like the stream if you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed to Audra for some reason, go subscribe. I'm clicking the button to end the podcast. Thank y'all so much